We're one game into the season, and it's quite obvious that Arsenal still have an attacking problem. And not just any attacking problem, a left wing problem. Our left wing has not looked good. And I'm wondering, is there any help over the horizon? Will we actually shift anyone to get anyone? And what's going on with the left wingers we have? Watch. Hola, Theatos. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another ammo check. And today we're talking attacking, but mostly left wing, although we have gotten some breaking news about the striker department, which we'll speak about later on. But I want to start focusing on the left wing, all right? And let's start with some news first. So it's come out that Leandro Trossard has signed a new deal till 2027. His old deal was already till 2027, so that hasn't changed. But apparently he's gotten a pay increase that reflects his value to the club. And the rumors are he's gone from £90,000 a week to £220,000 a week. And if that's the case, it's kind of mind-boggling, to be honest. And I like Trossard. You know, I think Trossard is a player that we needed. Trossard has that ability. We've seen it to come onto the pitch. He's not great at a start. He hasn't been great as a starter, but as a super sub coming off the bench, providing that spark, we've seen moments where, you know, we need a goal desperately, nothing's happening. Trossard makes it happen, and I think we need that in the team. However, going from £90,000 to 220, and we don't know if £220,000 is the actual number, but that's what's speculating, that's what's floating around. If that's the case, that is diabolical work, to be honest. I expected maybe 150, 160, you know, that much, but we're talking £220,000. People are just like, why are you being an accountant? Like, well, if you're paying a guy who's on the bench £220,000, what are you going to have to pay the guy who comes in? And I think that with Arsenal, we never actually consider this. And that's a problem we've always had in the past. We give guys who are on the team, like your Kai Havertz and, you know, your Gabriel Jesus, we give these guys a stupid amount of money. And then when it comes to contract negotiations, because if I'm Saka, if I'm Saliba, I'm sitting there like, Kai Havertz is on 275. I want 300. You know, Gabriel Jesus is on what, 250? I want 275. Like, it puts us in a bad position. And now you're going to pay Trossard 220. So the next round of, you know, contract negotiations, well, you're paying Trossard 220. I'm a starter. I deserve more. And that's how you get the wage bill up. And, you know, I'm not the accountant, but that's what stops you from offering wages to players who actually deserve them. Like Saka, I think, would deserve it. Saliba, I think, would deserve it. But if it comes down the road that our wage bill is too high and we can't offer these guys what they're asking for and they leave, that's how this happens. Also, when it comes to Trossard, he's got no sell-on value. So he's, what, 30? He'll be turning 31 soon. By the time his contract is up, he'll be 33. We're not going to sell him for anything. He's probably not going to, you know, renegotiate next year at 31, 32. So we're essentially paying him £220,000 to leave on a free. And it's like, yeah, that's wild. That's wild work to think about. That we are basically just giving him that kind of money. But, you know, like I said, I like Trossard, and I think he's a good signing, and I think we actually need him. What I find baffling about our left wing is you're going to re-sign Trossard, which is fine. You know, I think I would have preferred to keep Trossard anyway. But now Martinelli's there. And instead of shopping Martinelli's our best left wing asset. He's the best bit of business that we can do. If we're going to get rid of a left winger to get another one in, he's the chip. He's the guy. And apparently it's come out that he's not for sale. So we're going to keep Martinelli. We're going to keep Trossard. It doesn't look like a left winger is coming in. I don't see another left winger coming in, especially when you paid £52 million on Nani Madueke, who's supposed to be a right winger, but we've actually only seen him on the left in preseason and now. Um, yeah, it's kind of shocking to me. It's kind of shocking to me that we would actually go get another left winger. I don't see it happening. I don't think that it does happen. I think that what we have in the left wing department is what we're going to have. It doesn't look like we're going to get anyone. Everyone's touting this Rodrigo thing. With Rodrigo, and I've spoken about him numerous times on the channel, Rodrigo doesn't want to leave Real Madrid. And unless Arsenal go in there and say, I'm going to pay you 100 million euros or 100 million pound and please come to us, it's not happening. On top of the fact that even if we agree with Real Madrid, you're going to have to pay Rodrigo, he's on what, 250? You're going to have to pay him 300 plus to come. And can we afford that? Can we afford 300 plus? Because as I said, if we get him for 300 plus, what happens when Saliba's time to renegotiate? What happens with Saka's time to negotiate? You have 3 or 4 players on basically, 900,000 pounds a week, £1 million a week on 3 players. Like, that's a lot. So, yeah, I just don't see the Rodrigo thing happening. And I think he wants to fight for his place in Madrid. I don't see him unsettling, himself at Real Madrid just because he's been benched a couple times. Now, the whole situation with Rodrigo as far as the left wing is kind of weird anyway, because he was on the bench for this week's match for Real Madrid. And then you have Xabi Alonso saying it was tactical. Well, if you're not going to play him against, guys like Osasuna, when are you going to play him? Champions League? So you're going to sit on the bench pretty much the whole season to play Champions League and Copa del Rey games? I don't see that happening. I don't know what's going on at Real Madrid. And even if Rodrigo, I think, left Real Madrid, I don't know that he would come to Arsenal. I think Man City is probably the better option, even though Man City are keeping hold of the wingers that they have, especially one that was supposed to go to Tottenham, who they've held on to. I don't see a future in which Rodrigo materializes for us. Honestly, I don't see that happening. So I think the best that we can do is Rafael Leao or Ademola Lookman. Apparently, Ademola Lookman is not keen on coming back to England. But I don't think we prioritize a left winger anyway, because the next bit of news that we're going to talk about is it's come out that Kai Havertz has a knee injury. And it hasn't been said how serious the injury is. It says he's going to be out for a while. But the way the news kind of came out, the way they're breaking it, I know guys in our group chat are talking about it. It feels like Kai Havertz is going to be out for a while. And that means that we've basically gone from, being kind of good with the striker situation to being short. So, to answer the second question that I was asking, is this the end of the window? It shouldn't be, because now we need a left winger and we need a backup striker, because we don't know how long he's going to be out. Now, what I can see happening is us getting a loan move, due to the fact that Gabriel Jesus is still on the books. He is set to return. I don't know how long it's going to be. I still think it's a couple months out. But maybe the team hope that Gyökeres will stay healthy for a couple months, and then they don't have to spend anything because Jesus comes back. Or we go in for someone like, Ollie Watkins. Wissa's trying to go to Newcastle. I don't think that Arsenal will go after Wissa. Mateta will probably be a good choice, but Crystal Palace aren't going to lose Gahey, Eze, and Mateta in the same window, so that's probably not going to happen. And as far as Eze as well, it looks like he's going to Tottenham, and I think my thoughts on that one, I think we've missed out. If he was willing to go to Tottenham, he definitely would have been willing to go to Arsenal, but it seems like it was just paper talk. It doesn't seem like we actually ever put a bid in there for him. We never actually went formally for Eze, and I think it's a miss. I think after watching that first game, I think even if he was on the bench, Eze coming into that game would have given us something. But apparently because we re-signed Nwaneri, we're not going to go after Eze, although Nwaneri was an unused sub. So I don't know. I don't know what our strategy is, but it's quite obvious we need a couple more players. We need a couple more reinforcements. And finally, kind of on our window, this wasn't supposed to be a transfer show, but I guess it has turned into a transfer show. Getting rid of the guys who we're not going to use. So, we haven't made any sales. We got 2 weeks in the window. We haven't sold anyone. Like, Reese Nelson is still there. Sambi Lokonga is still there. Fabio Vieira is still there. Zinchenko was linked with a move to Milan. He's still here. Like, you don't want these players. Get rid of them. And I was listening to Talk Sport. I don't know how you guys feel about Talk Sport, whether it's hit or miss. But I was hearing that, those guys are going, but Arsenal are kind of waiting for better offers to come in. And I'm just like, you're not gonna recoup the 35 million you paid for Fabio Vieira. You're not gonna recoup the 25 or so you paid for Lokonga. You're not gonna recoup the 35 you paid for Zinchenko. So would you rather keep them on the bench and lose them on freeze, or get what you can? And at this point, I just kind of get them off the books. Maybe with somebody like a Sambi, you can attach a sell-on clause. You might not get much. Somebody like Zinchenko, maybe you can send on loan with an obligation to buy. Maybe if he does well, you can, or an option to buy for X amount if he does well. But it's going to be hard to shift those players, and Berta has a lot to do in the last 2 weeks. You've got to shift those players, and you have to bring someone in, because now we need some striker help, and we still have the left wing problem. So he's got a lot. I just don't think that. I'm kind of baffled by some of the moves. I get re-signing Trossard. I don't get re-signing him for as much money as reported. But I just don't understand why every time we have a transfer window, this happens. Like, why is it that we always sign the player? Like, you get a player and you're like, oh, I'm so excited, we got this player. But we never actually finish the job. We never get that left wing. We bought the striker. We need a left winger. Oh, we'll just kind of re-sign Trossard, and Martinelli's untouchable, and Madueke can play both. Like, no, go and get a real left winger. Like, give us help. As far as the backup striker, at this point, it is what it is. If Marino can play up there, then guys like Wissa and Mateta can play up there. It just depending on if we can get them. If I was Arsenal, I try to hijack the Wissa deal, to be honest. I think Wissa would be good as a backup. I think he's already at Brentford. He would come here. He's going to Newcastle. We're in Champions League too. I think that would probably be a good deal, but he might want to start. And that's why, Newcastle is in for him. But I would try. I would just try to see what we can get as far as a backup striker, because as I said, Jesus is coming back. Marino can play up there. So we'll see what we have. I just hope that at the end of this week, we'll have more clarity on what our transfers are looking for, because it's definitely clear that we need some help. And we also play Leeds, which is good. So hopefully we have a good showing against Leeds, and it'll boost the confidence. It'll boost the mood of the club, and we'll get more clarity on what's going on with transfers. So thank you guys again for listening. And if you have any thoughts, comments on what we spoke about, put them down in the comments. As always, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one.